Yeah, so with the normal inner child, what we would do in session, it would be done using hypnosis. So you'd probably do an induction. And what I do with inner child is I'll get them into a state, and then I get them to just imagine that they're in a park and they're sitting down on a bench, and there's a playground like to their left. And, while they're sitting there, there's trees and, gardens. And as they look to the left, there's a child playing. And as they watch that child, they start to realize it's them at a younger age, and that the child starts to walk over to them. And then I say to them, what is she looking like? How old is she? And this is Hypnoland, not memory reconsolidation, unless, of course, they get triggered and we switch it. But even so, we wouldn't really know we're doing that. You get them to ask the child to come and sit next to them. And you say, where are they sitting? And what you'll find sometimes is that they'll say the kid they've turned their back to me and they don't even want to sit with me. And I'll be like, why is that? Oh, they don't trust me. Well, what is it that you're going to say to that child? What is it that you want to say? I want you to look at that child and tell me what's good about that child. I want you to tell them that they're okay. And you'll just work in a hypnotic way. That the end goal would be that the child sits next to them. They have a conversation. And for me, I love integration. Like, I really don't like the idea of parts of us being left in a park, or parts of us being left in a bedroom in a house playing happily. Like, because what I've found is when you talk to people later, they see that part of them playing out there in that room. And that to me is not a person whole. That to me is a person that's still got parts of them not integrated. So for me, I like to integrate that child. Does it mean they don't have an inner child anymore? No, of course it doesn't. We're working on hypnosis and we're working on parts of them. So it is very healing. And sometimes you might do inner child and there's nothing they want to say to them. What do you want to say to that little one? What do they want to tell you? What did they need to know at that age that they didn't know? They didn't know they were loved, but they really were. Mum and dad were just busy. Do you know? What do they like to do for fun? What do they want you to do more of? Are they annoyed with you about anything right now? Go trigger them that way. Do you know what I mean? They'll probably go, yeah, annoyed that you're with someone you shouldn't be with. Do you know what I mean? It's really interesting. And for me, it's, once again, it's seeing their younger self with compassion and loving themselves. Like, I worked with a kid recently who was only like 13, and she hated looking at photos of herself when she's younger, and she hated her younger self. And for me, it was like, kids don't grow up hating themselves. They've learned that, and in the past, I've done it where, when they were saying that the younger self was disgusting, whose words are you actually saying? Oh, they're my sisters. Okay, right. But we're going to shift that now because it's not actually you. This is your sister's stuff. Do you know what I mean? But we really need to get them to see their younger selves with compassion and love. And even when you get into working with different things in hypnosis, you might find that in hypnosis, for some reason, there's kind of different things you can do where you're sitting around a fire and there's different parts of us that have got issues. You bring them to the fire, and you might find that they're angry with parts of themselves for whatever reason, and that needs to be shifted. I'm angry that at 22 I didn't leave the sky and it's affected my life. That 22 was doing the best that they could with the resources they had, and we need to kind of let that go a little bit and understand that we're always doing the best that we can. You know what I mean? So I call it working with selves, not so much in a child, because it might be a teenager that pops up, or it might be someone from 5 years ago that pops up. And I still tread very carefully, because when we're working with these kind of selves or the younger inner child, we want to meet at a mutual place, like a park or at the beach or something. We never want to touch memories. It's when you go into memory land with hypnosis, the potential of creating a memory of something that never happened is so high. And once it's created, it will always be real to the client, and then we'll never know. So that's why I'm really fierce on not doing regression to memories for trauma and stuff, because the likelihood of them creating what they believe happened is so high. But if they see what they want to see in hypnosis, it's just, it can't be fixed ever. Like, it can't be fixed. So yeah, so we meet these parts of us on neutral ground, like a park, and we do it with the intention to build compassion and understanding